Thank you for joining us at Grateful Gratitude with LoLo and Lexie. We are practicing gratitude girls that strive every day to recognize and celebrate our blessings. We are a mother and daughter that practice gratitude every day and put God in the center of our life. The only way to live a blessed and happy life is to be grateful. May you feel God's love and blessing each and every day.
It is time for another episode of Grateful Gratitude, LoLo and Lexie, and I'm excited about today's topic because I think you're going to teach me something here. Not that you usually don't, but, hey. We're going to talk about the difference between responding and reacting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I went through the first 45 years of my life reacting. And to me, when you react, it means you take a piece of news or something that someone's told you or emailed you. And,
situation.
Any situation, and you just blow up. There's no logic. There's no reasoning. It's just,
You react.
You're not thinking anything through. So I learned a while ago that it's better to respond, which even the word respond is more soothing and more peaceful.
It sounds like you're more in control of a response.
Absolutely. As opposed to reacting. And, when I would get an email, and I think everybody knows that we both have full-time jobs, but a manufacturer would email me and say, oh, we're out of stock, and my order had been there 2 weeks, and they're ready to print it and ship it, but nobody checked if there was inventory in all this time. I would go ballistic. I absolutely would say, how can you run a business that way?
Exactly.
I just thought you're incompetent, and it just was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now when I get that, I take a deep breath, and I say, well, what are our options? Do we have another product we can use? How are we going to make my client happy? And so that is just a very, very simple example of how to respond instead of react.
And most of the time, we react to things we can't change.
We have no control over it.
Exactly. And that's so hard to let go of that control. That's my issue. I have to remind myself to respond and not react to things all the time just because it's so easy to just be like, oh, like, what is the deal? Like, it's not logical in your mind, but you have no idea what those people have been going through that day when they were doing the order or something. And, just we don't know. We don't have an idea. And so I think it's funny. You say that you were that way for 45 years. I wouldn't say that as much because I remember growing up and you telling me anytime I get frustrated or anything, you'd be like, pray for tolerance, Lexie, pray for tolerance. Or anytime we get...
Well, I said it, but it didn't mean I was practicing it.
Well, or if we would get in an argument and I would just, whatever it was, you'd be like, all right, Lexie, well, I'm going to pray for tolerance so I can figure out how to handle this with you or something like that, And whenever I learned that was my reaction is, I'm going to pray for tolerance, and that would help me respond better, if that makes sense. So that because that used to be for me, if something would happen, my first reaction would be like, well, I have to blow up because this is so ridiculous or so whatever, but really it doesn't matter.
Well, I think sometimes when you blow up like that, you kind of...
ignite.
You make a situation, though, and then you want to tell people, and you want people to feel sorry for you and think...
You just need to move on, yeah.
Right, exactly. And, even now, like yesterday, I went to pop some air pop popcorn.
Yeah.
And I hadn't put the lid on right the last time, and it's, of course, on the top shelf of my pantry, and my cats are scurrying around my feet thinking, it's time for a snack, and I reach up, and it just everywhere, millions of pieces of unpopped popcorn. And you know what? I go, only me, and I got the broom and did, instead of just letting that ruin my day.
Right, and your reaction can come off to other people and freak them out. For example, with my baby, every time I'm with him and happy and everything, I'm always like trying to make him happy and doing crazy dances to make him smile behind the camera and just things like that. And I know there was one time I always use my dogs because my dogs are a big source of my stress sometimes, especially since having a baby, they're more work than my baby. But I have 3 of them. But anyways, the other day, one of them was barking, and so I immediately, banged on the window because I knew I had to react to them fast, otherwise they wouldn't know why they were getting in trouble or whatever. And then I went out the door and yelled at them, and, Levi looked at me, with these big eyes, what just happened? And it just shows you that, when you react, you turn into a person that you're not. You know what I mean? Right. It's an alter ego, and you do something out of anger most of the time, and never is that okay. But I like looked at him and I was like, no, it's okay. Mommy's not mean. It's okay. You know, like, it was hilarious. But it's just funny because it can affect other people too when you react like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. It really can, and it can really snowball problems also.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Let me think if I can think of a story here. There's a guy once that went to a concert, and after the concert he goes to his car and the car doesn't start.
Oh, no.
And so he is now stranded in
parking garage.
Parking garage, yes, of a major industrial city, metropolitan city. It's pushing around midnight. Now he could freak out and flip out and start banging his head against the wall, or he can just deal with
have a tantrum. Yeah.
Now, the way people would react is they'd flip out and they might lose control and make the wrong decision that would make it hard. They may say, I need to get home. I'm going to just leave my car here and Uber home.
Right.
And that's their instant reaction. But then tomorrow morning they're waking up thinking, oh my gosh,
I gotta wake up 2 hours
downtown.
early.
Or don't sleep all night worried about the car.
Exactly. Or they can say, okay, here's how we deal with this problem. I'm not the first one.
Yeah.
Not that it was me. But
of course not.
I'm not the first one to have a battery die in a parking garage. It's not a great situation, but we just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Just got to respond.
Most of the times,
you can't react.
Yeah, most of the times you learn something from it.
And it's proven that when you react instead of respond, you're not as healthy. I mean, all that stress.
Yeah, heart rate, blood pressure.
Right. I mean, and then you start, you create things in your mind, and it's just...
You start making bad decisions also.
Exactly, and you get sunk into this negative place that we preach about we don't want to be in,
Exactly. And, when you respond positively, it just becomes like a habit. You don't realize that you quit reacting after a while.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but when my car got stolen a few months ago, I told my mom, and I didn't know this at the time, but she told me afterwards, she was like, you really handled that well, for... and I was just like, well, it is what it is. We just have to deal with it. And everything was fine, and we got our car back in a couple days. I mean, everything was fine. We have the support, and we had everything going on that we made it work. But I knew in the moment when I would usually react, for sure, that wasn't going to do anything. That was going to make me... It was going to make my anxiety worse if I did that. It was going to make my husband more upset. It was probably going to make my baby cry, my dogs bark, It's just domino effect.
Yeah,
so it's just hold it in.
Those are great words. What you're saying right there is really fantastic.
Thanks.
It really is. Someone, it was either Jim Carrey or Oprah.
Couldn't have been Oprah.
Once said that you can either control the situation or let the situation control you.
Absolutely.
And you want to strive, and you can't be perfect with it. No. But you do not want to put yourself in a situation where the situation's controlling you.
Right.
And, sometimes I guess that's going to happen, but you have to be conscious of that and not let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think when you were, and it wasn't you, though, of course, in that empty parking garage, I mean, you just kind of took a breath and you thought, you know what, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to do it.
Okay, I'm going to pull the curtain back. That was me. And I will tell you this. It happened last night. And so it's really fresh on my mind. And when I think back, and I wish everyone could get to this level. I'm not bragging by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying everyone should be like me. But quite honestly, I look back and I think about the way I reacted last night. And I didn't react. I responded. And I honestly, one of my first responses was, hey, you know what? This car's got 52,000 miles on it. The batteries can go dead at some point. Yeah. It's unfortunate it happened in this situation.
Could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse, and I'm very fortunate that I've got a car that only has 51,000 miles on it, and I'm able to say, well, this is probably just the battery. It's not something bigger.
Exactly.
So during the crisis, I'm finding gratitude.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's something that we may want to make this a topic for another episode as well. And you guys have touched on it in almost every episode. You can find gratitude anywhere.
Absolutely.
So even though I'm stuck in a garage close to midnight with a car that's not starting, I'm finding things to be grateful for. And when you get to the point, this is why when I say I wish everyone listening right now you could get to this point, because I'm very happy that I'm at the point to where I'm in that situation last night, and I'm honestly naturally finding things to be grateful for.
Yeah. Well, and you practice it. The other thing is you had a great night leading up to that. So you already had so much gratitude in your heart. There's no way you could have reacted. It was natural for you to respond.
That's quite possible, but there are some people that their response would be, man, this was a perfect night until now.
Oh, exactly. But
and
as you practice the gratitude and the positivity, that tends to not happen. Yeah.
It goes away.
And it makes problems. I say it all the time, and it's even when the words come out of my mouth, it's hard for me to believe. But when you practice gratitude, you really don't have problems.
Amen. You're preaching.
You've got
all your
obstacles,
perspective.
you've got things, you got challenges.
Yeah.
But once you stop looking at them as problems, because you know what? And I hope I'm not a brain teaser talking here, but if there's a solution, there's not a problem.
Exactly.
And so the only problems are ones that don't have solutions, and there really aren't that many of those out in the world.
Right.
Well, and if you have that, you take it to God and you let Him solve it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
and if you react, it's just taking you longer to get to that solution.
Terminal disease is a problem.
Right.
A dead battery is not a problem. You can solve that problem very easily.
And we all know people going through things so much worse than what we are. So
Yes.
Exactly.
there we go.
Cool. Oh, end it? Are you telling me to
I
end
know.
it?
I'm trying to think of how. I'm trying to get better. I think I'm awful at ending these things.
No, you're fine. Where can you find us?
Yeah.
Or you could always say, too, just tease the next one.
What's the next one?
Well, we can just talk about what you said.
Well, anyways, I think we should say where to find us.
Okay. Watch this.
Okay.
Okay. You want me to do this one? You can do it.
All right, Lolo, where can we find you guys?
Well, we have almost every platform that you would need. We have blogs at gratefulgratitude.net. We have an Instagram at Grateful Gratitude 11, Facebook page, Grateful Gratitude, YouTube channel, Grateful Gratitude. Workshops, if you're in the local Dallas area, we have workshops, and we also have monthly inspiration meetings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, and in the next episode, let's talk about finding gratitude anywhere.
Okay, we can do it.
All right, until next time.